चिरसे प्रकृति स्मराय
नारायणाय हरये नम इति उदारम्
नारायणाय हरये नम इति उदारम्
अस्यन् मृगत्वम् अपि य समुदाजहार
हास्यं मृगत्वम् अपि यः समुदायधार.
Somebody like to read, please?
Can I read, Prabhuji?
Please, go ahead, Mother.
Thank you, Ji. Hare Krishna, Srila Prabhupada Ji ki Jai. Translation. Even though in the body of a deer, Maharaj Bharat did not forget the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Therefore, when he was giving up the body of the deer, he loudly uttered the following prayer. The Supreme Personality of Godhead is sacrifice personified. He gives the results of ritualistic activity. He is the protector of religious systems, the personification of mystic yoga, the source of all knowledge, the controller of the entire creation, and the super soul in every living entity. He is beautiful and attractive. I am quitting this body, offering obeisances unto him, and hoping that I may perpetually engage in his transcendental loving service. Uttering this, Maharaj Bharat left his body. Purport. The entire Vedas are meant for the understanding of karma, jnana, and yoga, fructive activity, speculative knowledge, and mystic yoga. Whatever way of spiritual realization we accept, the ultimate goal is Narayan, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. The living entities are eternally connected with him via devotional service, as stated in Srimad Bhagavatam, Ante Narayana Smriti. The perfection of life is to remember Narayan at the time of death. Although Bharat Maharaj has had to accept the body of the deer, he could remember Narayan at the time of death. Consequently, he took birth as a perfect devotee in a Brahmana family. This confirms the statement of Bhagavad Gita 6.41, Suchinam Shrimatam Gehe Yoga Brasto Abhijayate. One who falls from the path of self-realization takes birth in the family of Brahmanas or wealthy aristocrat. Although Maharaj Bharat appeared in the royal family, he became neglectful. Although Maharaj Bharat appeared in a royal family, he became neglectful and took birth as a deer. Because he was very cautious within his deer body, he took birth in a Brahman family as Jad Bharat. During his lifetime, he remained perfectly Krishna conscious and preached the gospel of Krishna consciousness directly, beginning with his instructions to Maharaj Rahuguna. In this regard, the word Yogaya is very significant. The purpose of Ashtanga Yoga, as stated by Madhvacharya, is to link or connect with the Supreme Personality of Godhead. The goal is not to display some material perfections. So, in this verse, we are seeing kind of a condensed message of what we are hearing above top in some of the verses that we have read before. One of the line in previous verses was, in order to remember Krishna, you need to think of his opulences, his name. He's all attractive and he's all knowledgeable. So here from the translation, we can see this is exactly what Bharat Maharaj is doing at the time of his death. He's about to leave. He can tell he's about to leave, and he's remembering Krishna and uttering these prayers. And he's clearly calling out these things. So he's remembering his beauty, he's remembering his opulences, he's remembering his qualities, his names, everything. And at the end, he's saying, I'm hoping that I may perpetually engage in his loving service. This is how humble a devotee is. The other day I was reading Haridas Thakurji's, one of the in Chaitanya Charitamrita's, his Leela. And it's similar thing at the last minute of his life. You can see how humble the devotee has been throughout his life, that he has been able to, and how his entire life has been, that he's able to remember Krishna at the last minute. Here Prabhupada ji is saying in the purport that, ultimate goal is Narayan. Ultimate goal is thinking about Krishna at the time of death. It seems very simple, right? People think, oh yeah, we'll do bhakti at a later stage. That's okay. It's not a young people job. It's a job we'll do at a later time. What we don't understand, what I have not been able to do throughout the time when I was young, when I was healthy, how will I be able to do that when I'm dying? There is so much of pain throughout the body. My memory is weak. I can't speak properly. How will I be able to do that at that time? So what does that imply? That implies that we need to practice. That's why Prabhupada ji has given us the process of sadhana. I need to practice throughout my life. Am I audible?
No, for a little bit you're not. Just maybe a few sentences. Now you are. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Again, not audible, Mataji.
Seems like now it's working. Is it working now, Prabhuji?
Yeah, it's working fine.
Hare Krishna.
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay, Mata, you can hear you.
Okay. Thank you, Ji. Thank you, Prabhuji. Now, am I audible now?
Yes, you're audible.
Okay, Ji. So here, Prabhupada ji is clearly calling out that the goal is to remember Krishna at the time of death. And there are multiple ways to do it, but Prabhupada ji has assigned us the bhakti way, which is the fastest way and the best way process, the process that Krishna actually likes. So Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita that bhakti is the best process because वो कहते हैं ना अदुर्लभम आत्म भक्तो वेदेषु दुर्लभम atma bhakto. Through reading the Vedas or just acquiring knowledge or through yoga practice, it's hard to attain Krishna, but Krishna is available for his devotees through bhakti very easily. So here Prabhupada is clearly calling out, and then he's talking about how neglect in the devotion can lead. That's why neglect in the devotion can lead to various births. And various births. That's why Prabhupada used to say, there is no guarantee. Do not hold that, okay, you know what, or do not give up that I can't do anything in this life, enough. We'll see what happens in the next life. We don't know what's coming in the next life. As Prabhuji always say, we have done a little bit of devotion, a little bit of sadhana. Krishna being so merciful, he will repay. And if he repays, and if the life in the next one will be even more better, then the devotion might be even more harder. So then it's very important for us to keep pushing through every single day, regardless of what the situation is. Here we can see through Bharat Maharaj's example. He was in a royal family. He left everything and yet got attached to a deer and then fall into prey of Maya and then became a deer. But in the life of a deer, with Krishna's mercy, he was very repentful, and that led to his next birth as Jad Bharat. And there he again spread Krishna consciousness and gave his teaching. And the rest we can see now he's able to think of Krishna all the time. So the learning lesson from us is we gotta be cautious. This is Bharat Maharaj who left everything for service of Krishna. Who are we? I personally have no comments who are we, but we can see this is Jad Bharat. And as Bhagavad Gita says, it's not just a reading, it's Shravanam, Mananam, and Smaranam. So if we manan on this, we can see a huge gap between what the teaching is and where we are. So we need to fill this gap by just thinking about Prabhupada ji, thinking about the teaching that Prabhupada ji has given, that we need to be serious in this life. And the goal is ultimately to join everything with Krishna and remember him at the time of the death, which is not visible if I do not do sadhana seriously throughout my life. That's the learning I'm getting from it. Please go ahead and comment, Prabhuji and Mataji's.
Hare Krishna. So in this verse, Maharaj Bharat is leaving his body, and so he is praying to the Lord that he was originally doing service as Maharaj Bharat. Then in the body of deer, he did not forget the Lord as he left his body. And now again, he is leaving his body, and he is still saying that after 3 births of which he could remember, that I am hoping that I may perpetually engage in his transcendental loving service. So that's the humility with which he is praying to the Lord, that the Lord, who is the protector of religious systems and yoga and source of all knowledge and the controller of creation, I'm quitting this body, offering obeisances unto him, hoping that I may perpetually engage in his transcendental loving service. So that's the level of humility with which one has to perform the devotional service, that one has to have that one cannot think one is purified and is going to be he'll be always in loving service of the Lord. So he has to have that humility that he is still not perfect, and that is being displayed by Maharaj Bharat here. Otherwise, would anybody else like to add to that, please?
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Just
Hare
one thing
Krishna.
that I would like to highlight is that although this line is kind of important, is although Maharaj Bharat appeared in the royal family, he became neglectful and took birth as a deer. Because he was very cautious within his deer body, he took birth in a Brahmin family as Jadavara. So just wanted to highlight that we have to be cautious. Oftentimes we get a bit sort of take it for granted. So we should try and avoid doing that. That's all I wanted to highlight.
Thank you, Prabhu. We'll go on to the next verse, 5.14.46. Ya idam bhagavata sabha jita vadata gunakarmano.
Ya idam
Bhagavata sabhajita vatata gunakarmano
Rajarsir Bharatasyanu Charitam Swasti Ayanam Ayusham Dhanyam.
Rajarshe Bharatasyanu Swasti Ayanam Ayusham
Yusyam Hanyam Yasyam
Yasyam Swargya Pavargyam Anushnoti Akhyashyati Abhinandati Cha Sarva Eva Shisha Atmana Asaste Na Kanchana Parateiti.
Yashasyam Swargya Pavargyam Vanushnoti Akhyasya Abhinandati Sarva Eva Shisha Atmana Ashaste Na Kanchana Parataiti.
Kanchana Paratati.
Somebody like to read, please?
I can read for you.
Thank you, Prabhu. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Translation. Devotees interested in hearing and chanting Shravanam Kirtanam regularly discuss the pure characteristics of Bharat Maharaj and praise his activities. If one submissively hears and chants about the all auspicious Maharaj Bharat, one's lifespan and material opulences certainly increase. One can become very famous and easily attain promotion to the heavenly planets, or attain liberation by merging into the existence of the Lord. Whatever one desires can be attained simply by hearing, chanting, and glorifying the activities of Maharaj Bharat. In this way, one can fulfill all his material and spiritual desires. One does not have to ask anyone else for these things, but simply by studying the life of Maharaj Bharat, one can attain all desirable things. Purport: the forest of material existence is summarized in this 14th chapter. The word Bhava Tavi refers to the path of material existence. The merchant is the living entity who comes to the forest of material existence to try to make money for sense gratification. The six plunderers are the senses: eyes, ears, nose, tongue, touch, and mind. The bad leader is diverted intelligence. Intelligence is meant for Krishna consciousness, but due to material existence, we divert all our intelligence to achieve material facilities. Everything belongs to Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. But due to our perverted mind and senses, we plunder the property of the Lord and engage in satisfying our senses. The jackals and tigers in the forest are our family members, and the herbs and the creepers are our material desires. The mountain cave is our happy home, and the mosquitoes and serpents are our enemies. The rats, beasts, and vultures are different types of thieves who take away our possessions, and the Gandharvapur is the phantasmagoria of the body and home. The will-o'-the-wisp is our attraction for gold, and its color and material residence and wealth are the ingredients for our material enjoyment. The whirlwind is our attraction for our wife, and the dust storm is our blinding passion experienced during sex. The demigods control the different directions, and the cricket is the harsh words spoken by our enemy during our absence. The owl is the person who directly insults us, and the impious trees are impious men. The waterless river represents atheists who give us trouble in this world and the next. The meat-eating demons are the government officials, and the prickling thorns are the impediments of material life. The little taste experienced in sex is our desire to enjoy another's wife, and the flies are the guardians of women, like the husband, father-in-law, mother-in-law, and so forth. The creeper itself is women in gender. The lion is the wheel of time, and the herons, crows, and vultures are so-called demigods, pseudo-swamis, yogis, and incarnations. All of these are too insignificant to give one relief. The swans are the perfect brahmanas, and the monkeys are the extravagant shudras, engaged in eating, sleeping, mating, and defending. The trees of the monkeys are our households, and the elephant is ultimate death. Thus, all the constituents of material existence are described in this chapter. Thus end the Bhaktivedanta purports of the 5th canto, 14th chapter of the Srimad Bhagavatam, entitled The Material World as the Great Forest of Enjoyment. Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. Please go ahead and.
I mean, there is, we've already discussed this in detail in the whole chapter, so.
So
At least I
Prabhupada
don't
is
see
like,
anything, yeah.
but the earlier one that we saw, where that person who rode the chariot into the world, and then there was like connections to each of our senses, etc. as connections. But here, the material forest and each of these, do not know. Are you able to get the direct connection, Prabhu? That like the path of material existence is clear, and but why is, let's say, for example, and so it's clear the six plunderers are the senses, but then things like rats, beasts, and vultures are different types of thieves. So why are they the different types of those kind of connections were a little bit more difficult to fathom or understand, but it's fairly clear that the forest of material existence, and then main thing being the senses are the plunderers, and everybody around. The connection is when the connection is material. it is more of plunder rather than anything that is making progress on the spiritual platform. That part is clear, but things like demigods control the different direction, and cricket is a harsh word spoken by the enemy during our absence. So, I mean, things like cricket is a harsh word spoken by our enemy during our absence. That those kind of things are a little bit more abstract or difficult to fathom.
Yeah, but I mean, all of these things, if we have to boil it down, it's just that as long as we consider ourselves this body and we live on that platform, these things are how they are.
Yes.
So once we free ourselves from that, then all of these things wouldn't really matter.
Hare Krishna, Pranam. How do we read this? The trees of the monkeys are about households. What is Prabhupada trying to say on this? Any idea? Last
He
but
is
third
not
line.
saying it. It was already there as part of the chapter.
It is there.
Prabhupada is not.
Exactly, but what does it mean? Everything
I
is
mean, like
relevant.
for example, we read a few verses ago that the elephant is the ultimate death. So
Yeah,
when
it
one
is.
goes into a dark cave, one sees an elephant, and elephant is the ultimate death. So this entire chapter is that we're trying to connect each of these as representations of things that we see. Like elephant is being referred to death, and same way the trees of the monkeys are, I mean, our households are like the trees, and where we jump from tree to tree or flit from one activity to another, not really remaining in one thing. So that way it is said that the trees are our households.
Okay. Right. Thank you. Thank you.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
So again,
Oh, go ahead, Prabhuji.
please go ahead, Mataji.
No,
Please go ahead, Mataji. No, go on.
Though there are 2-3 things that are coming to the mind. Yesterday, Prabhuji mentioned such a beautiful line. He said, all of us have good education, all of us have good family, good home, good knowledge, everything is good. Yet we say we don't see Krishna because we don't link what we have with Krishna. Everything is given by Krishna. We just need to see him behind those things. So here when Prabhupada is saying everything belongs to Krishna, I was just thinking about Prabhuji's line yesterday. It was like a hit hard when Prabhuji was saying that, and Prabhupada reiterating it here. Everything belongs to Krishna. But due to our perverted mind and senses, we plunder the property of the Lord and we engage it in our senses. And उसके बाद हम कहते हैं ओ ऐसे कर्म क्यों है और ऐसा क्यों है और ऐसा क्यों है. We don't realize what we have done. And Krishna, yes, so
Hare Krishna.
the other thing that was coming to the mind is when Prabhuji was talking about the monkey and the trees. Yesterday, before yesterday, I think in the purport we read that a monkey moves from one tree to another, and monkey have thousands of wives, and monkey have relationship with all those wives, and hence he's moving just to satisfy each and every wife. He keeps moving from one tree to another. That's like us. We as a householder has multiple things, and we keep moving from one to another to satisfy our own gratification in the long run. And that's why from one body to another, from one body to another. That's why Prabhupada is referring to that as trees are household plunders. They are the one who are actually taking us away from the real goal. And actually we are moving in circles. We don't realize it.
This makes more sense, Mataji. Now I'm with you on this. Maybe that's what Prabhupada is meaning. Hare Krishna.
Yeah, so in this verse again, it is said, whatever one desires can be attained simply by hearing, chanting, and glorifying the activities of Maharaj Bharat. So one can fulfill all his material and spiritual desires. So, like the Bhagavatam, we hear the lifetimes and pastimes of devotees of the Lord, and when we continuously read about them, hopefully we the qualities that we read about rub off on us, and slowly we also get to 0.001% of, or at least continuously contemplate these qualities and see if we can imbibe these qualities in ourselves. And hopefully we then don't hanker so much for the material desires, but we hanker more for the spiritual desires. And then we want to more and more serve Krishna and his devotees. So this is something that we can learn from the lessons of Maharaj Bharat in the few chapters that we read here in this particular canto. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Ruji. And this makes more sense. Reading the character of Bharat Maharaj, I think is a eye-opener for many of us. Because he passed through every stage which any devotee like to pass through. He elevated soul. Hare Krishna.
Yes, for sure. I mean, in Bhagavad Gita, we read about that Krishna says that one who leaves the body thinking of me is sure to come to me. And all of us have this doubt as to how this is to happen. And this being one of the biggest pastimes in Bhagavatam in terms of Maharaj Bharat and how he made this possible. And he was a very exalted king. And even such a king could fall down to being a deer is something that should really awaken us to the amount of material connections that we have. That he who is attracted to a deer, I mean, all of us, I mean, today we see a picture of a deer, we may say, oh, the deer is so beautiful or it's so gentle, and then how slowly it that attraction can pull us into getting more and more entangled in material life. It's something that we have to continuously contemplate and then, I mean, at least take us on the path of perfection where we try not to be as entangled. And for this, again, Prabhuji had said yesterday that if we leave a bad association, a satsanga, so by reading more about exalted devotees like Bharat Maharaj, then we slowly leave out the bad association and are less entangled in the material aspects of life and focus more on our spiritual practices and sadhana. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Yeah, almost time now.
Yeah, I mean, it's 9:45. We can close for the day and resume again on Monday with a new chapter.
Sure, brother.
Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna.